right, he's Rory Jennings. I'm Ade Oladipo. This is Thank Football. It's Friday. And now we're going to discuss the big news of the day, Everton's takeover.
It's a grand old team to play for.
In the last few moments, it's been announced the full takeover of Everton Football Club has now been completed. 777 Partners has signed an agreement with Farhad Moshiri to acquire his full stake in Everton Football Club.
I know that the feeling from up there is very much against Moshiri. From afar, you might look at it and say, well, look, Christ, he's put all that money in. Should we really come after him? But I think he's doing the right thing now and stepping aside.
This news today, and all the Everton fans who I know will be absolutely over the moon that he's out.
That's interesting. That's a very interesting take, the last one. That a lot of Everton fans will be happy that Farhad Moshiri is agreeing to leave the club and sell it to the American investment fund 77 Partners. The reason I say it is, look, obviously it's not worked for Farhad Moshiri and Everton fans. There's no connection there. But sometimes better the devil you know. Sometimes it's better the devil you know. When you hear me say Everton Football Club, what's the first thing that springs to mind?
Mismanagement at boardroom level
everywhere. Right?
Like, I think that Everton, they're an institution as a club. They're a massive club. They have a very rich history, and I think anybody a generation older than us, Addy, they only know Everton as, or at least they did it when in their youth. They would define Everton as a trophy-winning team. Obviously, our generation, we kind of know them as not winning anything since 1995. Paul Rideout at Wembley against Manchester United. They haven't won a trophy for so long, but anyone, even just a decade older than us, they know them as title-winning teams. Yeah. They know them as
that
being...
That team in the 80s, big club.
Really big club. Really big club, loads of titles. They've still, despite the fact that they haven't won a title for so long, they're still right up there when it comes to who's won the most titles in the country. They're really relevant in the conversation of big established clubs. However, sadly for them, when you ask the question, Everton Football Club, first thing to come to your mind, the first thing I think of is possibly, and there are some contenders here, but possibly the worst run club certainly in the country, certainly in the league, possibly in the country, maybe in the world.
Wow.
Well, I mean, they are incredibly mismanaged, aren't they? There are very few clubs. Obviously, Chelsea are now an example of this. But Everton, they spent, £500 million? More. Managed to get worse. The business that they were conducting was appalling. And I think there is this mistake that I think football fans have a propensity to make sometimes, which is if your owners spend money, they're good owners. So when there's a conversation about the Glazers, and I think it must be incredibly infuriating to Manchester United fans especially. People say that the Glazers spend money. They wanted Pogba, they got Pogba. They wanted whoever, they got whoever. They wanted to spend the money, they got the money. And it is so misleading. I think that Chelsea aren't in a good place. I think that the Chelsea owners are all over the place, but people will go, well, they spend loads of money.
Well, there's a difference, though. It's spending your money and refinancing the club and spending the club's money.
I think that there is...
What's Farhad Moshiri doing? Spending his money?
He is spending his money, but I think that we need to be slightly more... We need to approach this with an element of critical thinking and understand that simply spending money doesn't make you a good owner. And it's the way that you spend money. Like for example, think about the business that they've done on Iwobi. Yeah. It was terrible business. It was really bad business. And I think that it's so easy to go, that Moshiri spent money and therefore he did okay. We can sort of run through the players that they've come to the club that have not been a success under Farhad Moshiri. Is it a sporting director? A lack of? Is it the managers? There's been a few. Like, he's given the managers money to spend, isn't he? Is it the managers that are getting it wrong, or is it Farhad Moshiri that's ultimately making club signings? No, I think it's the club. I think it's the club that are getting it wrong. For example, Bill Kenwright. Bill Kenwright at that club, I know that he is now part of the furniture. He is part of the fabric there, and he has been there since as long as I can remember. But I don't know what he does at that club. I honestly have no real understanding of why he's there. I understood what he did pre-Moshiri. His role was clear. But I have no idea why he was still there. So I do understand why Everton fans will rejoice in the fact that Kenwright is out and the rest of that board are going to go, and Moshiri is obviously the public face of that. And all of those faces that are culpable for this situation that Everton find themselves in, obviously Everton fans will be happy that they're out. But sometimes I think you really do need to explore who's coming in. Yeah. And with this 777, I'm not sure that I can ever really think of a takeover that has posed more questions than answers it provides.
Yeah, I mean, you only have to speak to or listen to the fans of clubs they have taken over: Genoa, Sevilla, Vasco da Gama, Hertha Berlin. And when you listen to what the fans of those clubs say, and I've read it today, they hate that they've taken over their clubs.
Well, I mean, two that you said
that's
there.
words.
Yeah. I mean, look, you're completely correct. But Adi, the two that you can use there that I am aware of in terms of the situation. You mentioned Genoa in Italy. They were relegated.
Yeah.
You mentioned Sevilla. They are bottom of La Liga.
Yeah. And that's Sevilla, who you guys will know, sort of Europa League winners, UEFA Cup winners.
Yeah, and Genoa, we've known as a Serie A team.
For a long
I remember
time.
their derby with Sampdoria was always like a very intense one that I used to enjoy watching. They certainly, it's troubling, I think, from an Everton perspective.
It is. Look, Everton fans, it would be nice to hear what you have to say about this one. Phone lines are open: 03717 223344. Yes, you're happy that Farhad Mashiri has agreed to sell the club, but what do you know about the American investment fund 77 partners that are willing to take over the club?
Evertonians are so desperate to see the back of Bill Kenwright and Farhad Mashiri. I think they're correct. But this 77 partners, it really troubles me. I think that there's an issue here, and I think something that we need to ask, when we talk about fit and proper people taking over football clubs, what we're doing there is saying, who are these people? Where's the money from? Is the money traceable? Is the money clean? That's generally what the question is, isn't it? Are you fit and proper? What that generally means is, can you afford it through legitimate means?
Yeah.
I think that the question that really needs to be asked is, why? Why do you want to own a football club like Everton? Like, Everton are a British footballing institution. It's
who doesn't want to own a Premier League football club nowadays? It's one of the big things. And if you are an American and you have loads of money, as everyone is doing, I think half the clubs in the Premier League are owned by Americans. You want to get your hands on a Premier League football club.
Okay, but why? This is the issue. Why do 77 partners, Stephen Pascoe and Josh Wander, two American chaps, why do they want to buy Everton? Is it because in their youth they were, huge fans of Tony Cottee? Is it because they have season tickets in the Gladys Street during a year travelling when they were living on Merseyside in 1988 or whatever? Or is it because they think that there is a way to squeeze as much money out of Everton Football Club and make as much money as possible? Ultimately, they will not have the interest of Everton Football Club and those who have season tickets at Goodison Park high on their agenda. The point won't be to secure the future of the club, will it? The point won't be to make sure that Everton Football Club are in the best case scenario or in the best position that they could possibly be in.
No, surely it will be, though. Look, as you guys, you know this. I mean, with investment funds, they're venture capitalists. They want to go in, they want to fatten it up as much as they can, and they want to sell it on.
That's not the only way to make. You're suggesting that fatten it up to make money. And by fatten it up, you're suggesting win trophies and whatever else.
Even if it's a case of win trophies, invest in the squad, make sure the stadium gets built. Just make sure Everton don't go to where Everton, not that they might go to in the next couple of seasons, which is the Championship.
I hope you are correct, but it feels like you're being incredibly optimistic here, Adi. I think that there are other ways that you can make money out of a football club, and asset stripping would be a way that I suggest you can make.
As we have seen with a few Premier League clubs. Let's welcome in Pete, the Everton fan. Pete, look, I've spoken to a few Everton fans in the last couple of days. A lot are happy that Farhad Mashiri is out of the club, which basically means Bill Kenwright is gone as well. But many, though, don't know too much about this American investment fund, 777 Partners. How much do you care about that? Or is it more a case of just happy that Farhad Mashiri is now leaving the club?
It's not just that. I don't know anything about 7-7, to be honest, but all the Evertonians, we're just all worried about the club, really, and concerned how it's been run in the past few years, and it's been run down to the ground, really, and I think Kenwright was a big problem, and he just wouldn't go, and he caused the board was a mess, and they bought players, and they give them high contracts and long contracts, and high wages, and it just ruined the club, and we were just digging ourselves a hole. But I would like the Premier League to have a look into it before there is a takeover and make sure everything's proper,
Where's it all gone wrong, Pete? I mean, you only have to rewind back to 4 years. Carlo Ancelotti coming into the club, you're making good signings, or at least what we thought on paper were good signings. You had one of the best managers in the world. You felt like you were competing again, maybe not for the league, but at least competing for European spots. And here we are now, and it's been back-to-back seasons where you're skating around the relegation. You're 18th now. How's it gone so bad so quickly for Everton?
It's recruitment, really, and it's okay. Swap, like people moan about swapping managers and what have you. But at the end of the day, you can't keep doing that because we were taking managers on and then sacking them and then paying them off. So again, it was just all run wrong. The board was wrong and things like that. And like I say, recruitments and everything else. And it just went downhill after Kendall, really. It just went, Moyes done his best when he was there. And he was there, 11 years? And he done what he could working on a low budget. And he got us going playing well and things like that, and cup finals and things like that. And, into Europe, and it was run right. And then he sort of like smelt the grass was green on the other side sort of thing, like Man United, and then he got messed about there. So I think, it's just been messed about by the board. And Ken Wright, I'm sorry, but I know people go on and on about Ken Wright, but he hasn't helped the cause whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm worried, Pete. I'm genuinely worried about this takeover. It's all very well talking about needing a new start for Everton, and I totally concede that is the case. But this 777 partnership, it really does fill me with dread. I mean, if you think about the fit and proper persons test that we were talking about, there is some jeopardy around that even passing. A co-founder of 777 may not be able to be involved at all because of a 2003 conviction for drugs trafficking. This isn't ideal at all, is it? No,
I wouldn't like that at all into the club as well, because we are the people's club. You know what I mean? We do a lot. Well, Everton, not myself, but I mean, Everton do a lot for the community and that. And that getting people like that in won't it might tarnish the club as well. So I don't know. I don't trust it. I can smell a rat, to be honest. I really can. I wouldn't like to go ahead with it.
Yeah. It looks like something that will go ahead, though, Pete. Quick one on Farhad Moshiri and his time there. Obviously, look, it hasn't worked out. He spent a lot of money, well over $500 million. What do you make of his time? When you have to look back and kind of judge his time or sort of sum up his time at the club, how do you do it?
I would say, he's come in there, he's promised the money and he's given the money, but I think he's recruited the wrong people to give him advice, if you like. And he's just been messed about as much as the fans have been messed about. And the thing is, with the board and himself, they should have approached the fans more and got in touch with the fans and let them know what's going on. And they hid behind glass doors, if you like. Yeah, and they wouldn't. And the fans have been messed about, because I'm not just saying it because I'm an Evertonian, but they are the best fans, away fans, and they're just brilliant lads, you know what I mean? And girls, by the way, and kids and whatever. But they are one of the best fans in the world, you know what I mean? They've gone through thick and thin. They've been down in the dumps, and they still support the club. They still follow the club all over the country. And at the end of the day, they should have approached us and sat down and and spoke to us and tell us what's going on, rather than go behind our back. And it's like, the way I feel with this takeover is like, Sherry's just like grabbing the money and going now and see what he can get, trying to get his money, to get some money back.
Pete, you can't blame him. He spent £500 million and he's probably got nothing out of it, if I'm honest with you. So we'll see what happens.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.